slightly even more information that contradicts U.S. Representative-elect George Santos's history, his stated history, and his resume has come out. And that has prompted an investigation into whether or not he's been honest about anything that he has ever said. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Now, according to the Associated Press, Santos is now under investigation by Long Island prosecutors after these revelations surfaced that the now-embattled Republican lied about his heritage, education, and job history during his campaign. Nassau County District Attorney Ann T. Donnelly, a Republican, interesting, said the fabrications and inconsistencies were, quote, nothing short of stunning. This is a Republican who is surprised to see Republicans or any politician lie. Right. Oh, okay, she must have not been paying attention before, but great. She's looking into Santos because it turns out there's some issues there, potential legal issues, but we'll get to that. But we have some of the other issues that have come to light. And of course, there's a lie about him having Jewish ancestry, which is not true. A genealogist actually examined Santos's family tree and found no evidence of Jewish ancestry at all. Just flat out none. So he's not even, as he would call it, Jew-ish. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but I'm Jew-ish. Because I have family that fled the Holocaust. Nope, turns out lie. Complete lie. Now, there's other things. He lied, of course, about working at Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, of course. Lying about getting a college degree. Okay, sure. Now, that is going to matter because it gets into how he makes his money. But he's facing allegations as well in Brazil of using stolen checks to buy shoes, clothes, a clothing store, and then ran from the country to avoid prosecution. Seriously. Then we also find out that he had lied about his dead mother. I mean, just the amazing amount of lies here. Oh, there's more. George Santos, you can see a couple of tweets here, different dates. 9/11 claimed my mother's life, so I'm blocking so I don't ever have to read this again. December 23rd, this year marks 5 years I lost my best friend and mentor. Mom, you will live forever in my heart. Okay. So this was flagged by Yasser Ali. So Santos's campaign website stated this. Georgia's mother was in her office in the South Tower on September 11, 2001, when the horrific events of that day unfolded. She survived the tragic events, but passed away a few years later when she lost her battle to cancer. Now, that is actually something that has happened to people. For example, rescue workers, first responders that had come in and pulled people from the rubble. And then later on, several years later, had died of, again, things like cancer or other, I guess, exposure to contaminants from the tower. And so, yes, that is a plausible story. Absolutely a plausible story. But how many is a few years? Well, I mean, she died 15 years ago. So, yeah, it's a bit more than a few. Yeah, I mean, you look at the tweet and it implies that she died immediately, in a couple of years after 9/11. Well, not 15 years. I mean, maybe she held on quite a bit. And maybe that's because she's a tough woman. I don't know. But there's other lies about her as well. And before I get to other, things involved here, other lies, I probably shouldn't address this, but I want to do it anyway. Look at who he's responding to in the first tweet. I come from Mao. I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
Sexual anarchy.
Okay. Anyway, I had to. All right. So now that said, the more lies about her mother or his mother. In one radio appearance from December of 2020, Santos claimed that his mother had fled socialism in Europe and moved to the United States. And then added, my father fled socialism in Brazil. My mother fled socialism in Europe, and they came here to build a family. So he also claimed in another interview from 2020 that he grew up with a white Caucasian mother, an immigrant from Belgium. Well, no, that's not true. It turns out Santos's mother was born in Brazil, according to genealogical records. Interesting. There's more. Turns out we don't even know if his name is if he's using his real name. CNN uncovered a now deleted GoFundMe page that Santos started under a fake name. CNN's K-File reviewed records indicating that he had used the alias of Anthony Zabrowski for a fundraising pet charity that he claimed was a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization, which there is no record of. It doesn't exist. So, look, you have this. I mean, I know there's a saying. I can't think of it right now, but there's a saying, like, you know, one. It's almost like Lay's, right? You know, or not Lay's. Sorry, Pringles. When you pop, you can't stop. Well, once you lie, you have to keep lying. You know, in order to cover up the original lie, and so it just keeps piling up these lies and these. And what you're doing, it's you look at one of these lies from Santos, and you discover an entire rabbit hole full of them. It just goes on and on and on. It's amazing. In fact, one of the lies ended up reaching Anthony Scaramucci. And so he had to come out and be like, actually, that's not true. So Santos had claimed to have been on a panel at a private equity conference run by Anthony Scaramucci. Anthony Scaramucci was like, never heard of him. Nope. In fact, both Goldman Sachs and Scaramucci said this: the claim is entirely fictional. Scaramucci told CNN in a message, there's not only no record of him appearing on a panel, but no record of him even attending the conference. Wow, okay. Oh, it's better. It's better. Now, Santos also claims to be biracial. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, name's Santos, his mother's from Brazil, so yes, he would be biracial, but no, he claims that he is actually half black. I don't see it. Do you guys remember that Republican that had a sock puppet? And he accidentally posted on his main Twitter account that he was a gay black man. That's the feeling that I get from this. I mean, wow. Oh, you know what? I know why. It's because he didn't vote for Joe Biden. That's it. That must be it. You ain't black. No, come on, man. It's ridiculous. But again, there's a lot of lies and misrepresentations and super weak excuses. And now, look, I remember when this first came out, I was like, look, why didn't anybody catch this? I mean, he had 2 campaigns. So, I mean, why didn't anybody find any of this? Well, it turns out the opposition on research on Santos, which they did do, they did an opposite research file. The DCCC did find some red flags about his past statements. But instead of talking about his some of the lies, they chose to focus on tying him to January 6th and his support for Trump's election fraud conspiracies. So now the report also sought to depict him as a far-right candidate, though his Democratic opponent, Robert Zimmerman, also tried to raise Santos's misrepresentations during his campaign, but nobody was paying any attention. So you could say that maybe the Democrats were not spending enough money in that race to do effective messaging. Because remember that's where the money goes. It goes into ads. It goes into media. And so if you're not pointing these things out, and you're not spending money to buy ads to point this stuff out, who's going to really know about it? There's a significant black population in Brazil. See, I'm not familiar with the demographics of Brazil. So that said, I haven't seen a picture of his mother, so I have no idea, or his father. I have no idea. I'm just saying he looks pretty white. Just saying. Anyway, now the other thing I'd ask about is, where's the money? Like, what about the money? Okay, where did he get the money from? Well, buried within the report, the DCCC had raised issues about his shaky financial standing and multiple evictions that had left him thousands of dollars in debt. So, if you're making a ton of money, how are you skipping out on rent? That's weird. Buried within its report, the DCCC had raised issues about this and found federal campaign records. Okay, and those records showed that he had loaded his campaign more than $700,000. But couldn't figure out where the money was coming from. In fact, WABC reported that there were questions about how he was able to loan the campaign that amount while only earning a salary of $55,000 a year. Okay. Now, Santos responded to that and said, well, I do specialty consulting. Oh, specialty consulting. So somebody who doesn't have an education, doesn't have a history in consulting, can somehow pull in tons of money from I got into the wrong line of work, apparently. He said, quote, if you're looking at a $20 million yacht, my referral fee there can be anywhere between $200,000 to $400,000. So basically, he helps connect rich people looking to buy things from other rich people. Uh-huh. Now, look, at first glance, you look at this guy and you wonder how a person who had lied about his resume, education, and job history could be giving people, who could be doing consulting, right, to rich people. Who would listen to his advice? Well, then again, if you lied about it, I guess, how would they know, right? But I'm just thinking that if I paid this person hundreds of thousands of dollars in consulting fees, right, to a man who had no idea what he was doing at all, didn't know what they were talking about, didn't know what they were doing, because they lied about their qualifications, well, I would be livid. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? But then again, I guess if you're just connecting rich people to other rich people to make sales, that doesn't really sound like it's consulting. That said, what they're actually looking at is, well, a connection between the people that had used his consulting services to give him that money and his campaign. So that's where the issue of legality or illegality comes into this loan. See, now he admitted that his firm, the DeVolder Organization, had loaned his campaign the money, the full $700,000, in small increments over time. So now, if that's true, and he took corporate money from his own company, by the way, but these are corporate assets, and loaned it to his campaign, that's a campaign contribution. And corporations cannot make campaign contributions directly to a candidate. That the Daily Beast explains that candidates for federal office may give unlimited amounts of their own money to their campaigns, but they cannot expressly tap corporate accounts to do so. Ah, interesting. Brendan Fisher, Deputy Executive Director of the Government Watchdog, said that corporate contributions to campaign and leadership PACs are expressly prohibited. Santos had made loans to both, with knowing and willful violations carrying possible criminal charges. So, taking the DeVolder money and sending it to his campaign, not legal. Now, the other question, though, is, did he set up DeVolder, who, by the way, has no clients, doesn't have products, doesn't have anything, nothing that's listed? Is this just a shell corporation? Is a shell corporation that was set up to allow those wealthy donors to contract him for consulting to actually use it to funnel money to his campaign? And if that's true, well, that not only would get him in trouble with the law, but also the people that have been funneling money through the shell corporation for consulting to his campaign. And what do we say about campaign contributions? You don't give money to a candidate as a big company or as a big donor unless you want something in return. You want that return on investment. What do you think this was? Return on investment. In fact, the Daily Beast has confirmed 4 DeVolder Organization clients. New York-based Tentilo Auto Group, 2 organizations tied to the influential Ruiz family in South Florida, and another firm associated with the Long Island insurance magnate James C. Metzger. Santos had acknowledged all 4 of these clients on Wednesday. Members of the Tantillo and Ruiz families, along with Metzger, also happen to be Santos campaign donors. And some of them have further stakes in the Long Island political scene, including major donations to top Santos ally, Representative Lee Zeldin, who had lost his bid for governor this year. And there are even more connections that the Daily Beast article gets into in more detail. But yeah, interesting. So, as I mentioned before, if this is not a shell corporation, then Santos could have violated the law by diverting corporate funds to his campaign. But if it's a shell corporation being used to funnel money from these top donors who want a return on investment, it's essentially bribery. And that's against the law, obviously. Now, there is legal bribery in the form of campaign contributions, super PACs, etc., spending on behalf of a campaign, putting out ads and things like that. And there's also normal PACs. Only somebody who's so incredibly stupid and or maybe just greedy or just used to being able to get away with just enormous amounts of lies would try to go to this illegal route. And that looks like that might be the case with Mr. Santos. So I'm thinking that with these investigations starting, Santos appears to be fucked.